Life is full of magic, from sunrises to sunsets, the metamorphosis of a caterpillar into a butterfly, the creation of music, literature, and art. And how about the elegant simplicity of DNA and its glorious double helix, bringing together a handful of proteins and chemicals to literally assemble life itself. To be sure, magic is everywhere. My name is Mio. I've traveled around the world for 25 years, performing for royalty, celebrities, people from all walks of life. And the one thing I've learned along the way, it's that life is magic.
I'll take a 9, sprinkle a little magic, give it a twist.
All you have to do is open your eyes.
Blow on it, it's a queen.
Turn left.
Have you ever been driving down the road, listening to your GPS guide you to within feet of your destination, telling you where to go and when to turn, and ever thought about just how magical that is? And then, when you consider that there are millions of other drivers at the same moment getting guided at the same time, it becomes mind-boggling. But it makes the point of just how magical our world is. And not just the technological advances, the GPS, the smartphone, the ability to fly, but more everyday things as well. The miracle of sight, artistic genius.
After 1/2 mile, your destination is ahead on the left.
Or the trillions of microorganisms that are actually living inside our body to keep us healthy. That's what this series is all about. To open our eyes to the magic that is around us every day, and to help us appreciate that life is magic.
Do you guys have a cell phone with you? Yes. Can you call somebody that speaks English, or not even? Just call anybody, even in any language.
You think
Ask
so?
him to think of a card in the deck.
Okay, do me a favor. Okay, think of a card in the deck, any card. Okay. Name it what? Think about a card. Okay. 你諗咗個 card 未？你講俾我聽，講俾我聽。
And then once he has it, say it out loud.
Said me.
Yes, please. Tell him to
Okay.
tell you.
講俾我聽，講俾我聽，係乜嘢？係乜嘢
Is it the Queen of Hearts?
？Queen of Heart.
Perhaps one of the most magical things in our lives that we take for granted these days are cell phones. Not only can we talk to someone across the country or even around the world, with the press of a button, we can also send words, pictures, videos through the ethers, instantly appearing in someone else's hand.
So Arthur C. Clarke said that if you take any technology and it's sufficiently advanced, it's indistinguishable from magic.
Dr. William Hahn is a research scientist at Florida Atlantic University in Boca Raton and an expert on artificial intelligence.
Right? So these cell phones that we have today, not that long ago, people would have thought this is pure magic.
He and Dr. Ilan Barinholtz, a cognitive psychologist who is also studying AI, are co-directors of FAU's Machine Perception and Cognitive Robotics Lab. Their goal is to use what they know about the brain to inspire artificial intelligence and to advance the technology, including its use in smartphones.
The ancient Greeks had this thing, the oracle.
Yes.
And it was unimaginable how it could be, but they could imagine and speculate that such a thing could exist. You could ask it any question, and it would give you that answer to the question. Now, right now, we never have to ask, who won this Grammy last year? We don't have to wonder what the name of a movie was, because we can instantly search for that information, which is pretty close to an oracle. And it does have that magical quality. And if we took this back to ancient Greece,
They would be considered a god.
we would be a god, right?
Absolutely.
People don't realize it, but when you're carrying around one of these devices, you're carrying around with you a supercomputer by any standards. And the reason why that's so important is not only that we can do faster games or be able to download YouTube videos quicker, but the kind of math and computing that these things are doing are actually in many ways simulating the human brain. And so this is where the neuroscience and the artificial intelligence really start to meet.
This is how you turn it on. This is your music.
Like a vision of the future,
The original iPhone hit the marketplace in 2007 and changed the world.
And this is a call on your iPhone.
Smartphones rapidly became exponentially smarter, and today they are the backbone of the high-tech revolution called the Internet of Things, allowing people to magically connect with almost everything in their world.
We are using these algorithms called artificial neural networks. And what these are really simulations of the brain.
Artificial neural network.
That's right. So a neural network just means that you've got a bunch of nodes that are connected, and then what you do is, in order to get that thing to perform the behavior you want it to, you got to change those connections. That's exactly like our brain. Our brain is made up of little cells and these dendritic connections, and as we learn and develop, those dendritic connections change, and that's how we learn to speak a language. That's how we learn to recognize a face. Well, the exact same underlying thing is going on in a cell phone when it's running its neural network, and it's learning to recognize your voice, and it's learned to identify faces. And so phones with cameras can now identify objects. Maybe even more impressively, we are able to send our signal, when we talk to our phone, it will go to a server, a Google Cloud server, for example.
I see.
And the most powerful brain on the planet, in some ways, because this is a super duper computer that's, it's of staggering computational power, is listening to our when we're asking, tell me how to get to this restaurant. It's sending the signal over there, and it's running on the state-of-the-art artificial neural network, deciding what's on there, what you've said, and sending that information back. So in some ways, we're carrying around two brains in our pocket.
So what we do here is we experiment and try to understand, how do humans perceive the world? So the virtual reality is all about vision, but this is actually all about smell. And so Alan Turing, the first computer scientist, he said, how do you teach a computer to understand something like what strawberries taste like? It's almost impossible. I mean, how do you explain strawberry? And so what we're doing is we're teaching a computer by example. And so we give it vanilla and lemon and strawberry, just like you would a human being, and say, can you understand what this is all about? And that's really magic, because now what we can do with that is we can use that as for medicine. And so one of the students who's working on this project, they have a diabetic alert dog that actually monitors their blood sugar, and the dog is able to smell these changes. So what we're developing is a sort of computer technology that could help assist the dog in that function.
That's amazing. In your view, how have they changed society? How has smartphones, really changed the way we
So obviously
interact?
there's the sense that we're always connected, right, to each other, and also, in a more profound way, we're connected to kind of all the information that's available in the world.
Yes.
And in addition, there's this underlying technology, this artificial intelligence, that's really latent. It's going on beneath the surface of the phone. And the idea that we can talk to machines and that they can understand what we're saying, this is a radically, amazingly new idea, something that people only dreamed of until maybe the past decade. And the fact that we're able to do this, I think it's easing us into the idea that machines are really much more a part of the fabric of our everyday lives. And so I think smartphones are really important in that sense, sociologically and psychologically.
It used to be that you'd say, open sesame, and now we say, hey Siri. And so this magic is really here in our hands now.
Let's try something. Do you have a cell phone on you?
I do.
I want to try a little open sesame with you.
Okay. Okay, there we go, locked.
All right, so now, there we go.
Yep,
Think of the first number.
okay.
Think of the third number. Watch me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 3, 4. I think it's 3. There's 2 left. Think of the whole password in your mind. I have 1 number left. I'm going to touch it. If that phone opens, I've read your mind.
I don't know how you did it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, very impressive, very impressive. I don't know how you did that.
I'm very fascinated with your work, actually.
And Dr. Wasim Asghar is another Florida Atlantic University professor who is taking the smartphone to new heights.
Okay, that's great.
An engineer and expert in microfluidics, Dr. Asghar and his team at the Asghar Lab have been working at turning cell phones into very powerful medical diagnostic platforms to quickly and cheaply diagnose HIV, the Zika virus, and other harmful pathogens anywhere in the world.
We thought, okay, everyone has a cell phone, and it is a powerful magical device.
Yes.
So why not we can use it for diagnostics? So we start building actually ideas around a cell phone. because cell phone has a camera, it has a microprocessor, it has a lot of things which computer has. So it can actually work as a very compact but very powerful device.
To that end, Dr. Asghar and his lab have developed several apps that use very inexpensive paper or plastic slides and takes less than a drop of blood to test for a specific virus. Dr. Asghar's latest version of the app will also analyze the results on a smartphone and will do so in greater detail. Using millions of microscale magnetic beads, these nanoparticles literally attach themselves to a specific virus, such as HIV or Zika, then are moved through the slide's micron-scale channel with a magnetic device. A device that would be available to healthcare workers anywhere in the world for less than $50.
Now if you see that small black circle there, that's a chunk of those micron scale particles which will have actually a virus captured.
After the blood sample is fully tested, it changes color, indicating the presence of the virus that it's being examined for.
So once you take a video or one photo, then there is an app which we are developing which will quantify that how many viruses are there based on the absorbance of a color.
Another amazing app the Asghar Lab is developing turns the smartphone into a microscope, where a man can check out his fertility in the privacy of his own home.
So the smartphone has a camera at the back.
Yes.
And that camera nowadays are very powerful. And now we just have to attach some lens with this camera which will magnify the image.
I see.
Then it is a microscope. You can actually look at the thing, you can record a video at a high resolution, and you should be able to do analysis of the video also with the app. So that's the power which cell phone has.
What these are a collection of Billboard's top 100, and it's 50 years of the top 100. So pick your favorite album or your favorite artist, hopefully he's represented. When you've chosen it, put him in your lab coat. Don't let me see who it is. Okay, now, before I came to this lab, I had an inkling that I'd be standing here with three incredible scientists who are going to be thinking of albums. And the last gentleman, I thought, you know, how can I really prove that I've thought about this ahead of time and actually thought you might choose a certain album? Believe it or not, I went to a concert by this very group. I look at you and I say to myself, this guy is a thriller. Did you choose Michael Jackson?
Yeah.
Because look, on my phone, I took a picture of the ticket that I went to see Michael Jackson in LA back in 1988 at the Los Angeles Sports Arena.
Wow.
And not only that, do you have your phone on you, sir?
Yeah.
Can you go ahead and dial this number that's been sitting right here in full view the whole time? Because not only did I put a picture of the ticket, but I changed my ringtone for today. That's just for you, Dr. Asghar. So where are smartphones going to be in another 10 years? Dr. Asghar believes that in the near future, smartphones will be able to access technology built into our homes that will be able to detect various biomarkers and keep an eye on our individual health. Dr. Barinholtz projects that artificial intelligence will one day actually understand all of the information that's on the internet and potentially give us an answer to any question asked.
If we were to ask, well, what's the cure for liver cancer?
Right.
Well, it's possible that we just don't have enough information at this point. The scientific data is not there. But another alternative is that no human being can possibly process all of the information that's available in all of the archived journal articles.
And so maybe
that have
it
been
is
published.
there.
Maybe it is there.
Right.
And so perhaps AI will be able to deliver answers that simply aren't there in terms of what humans have put out. Right now, you can only find information that somebody has put on a website. But true artificial intelligence will take us well beyond that. And if our phones can do that kind of thing, well, then we have a true oracle.
That would be real magic. Absolutely.
All right, so we've talked about some of the most amazing uses for the smartphone and the devices we carry in our pocket, these human brains or brain-like items. Well, I'd like to use this phone for its most basic use. I want to make a phone call.
And I'm going to open the phone. And in a moment, I'm going to call my office in New York. You're going to think of a card, you're going to tell us the card, and whatever card you name, we're dialing this office because that's where I left the message a few hours ago. So first thing I'd like you to do, Elon, is just name any card in the deck.
Just name it right here?
Yes, sir.
Ace of spades.
I'm going to give you the option to change your mind. You can stick with the ace, or you can go to a different card. It's
Go
up
on
to
a
you.
different card.
Okay, please do. Which card would you like?
3 of hearts.
The 3 of hearts. Now hold everything. Because instead of using the phone, I think what we need is this. This is my mind-melding miracle mirror. And this mind-melding miracle mirror can take from your mind the thought and put it right on the mirror. So I want you to think of the card you have thought of. All right, and then hold it in front of me. May I have your phone? And does it open?
It does.
And can you open the camera? And if you will, I'd like to take a picture of you. And please continue to think of the card you just mentioned. Ready?
Oh, dear God. I believe.
However, if you didn't believe it, here we go. 2 hours ago, I placed this message on my machine.
Hi, you've reached the office of Magic by Mio. I'm currently performing and I can't take your call. In fact, I'm performing right now for you. And you just thought of a card, and you know that good things happen in threes. And you're a loving soul. For some reason, 3 hearts seem an appropriate thing at this moment to mention.
Thank you, Mio.
Outstanding.
Thank you so much. Found the wife, saved the life.
My God! That's great. What?
I love sharing my magic.
That's with my mind, man.
My goal is to make people feel like kids again.
47?
To share with them an experience of wonder and joy that they may not have felt since childhood. Relax, let it out. Autumn, you are a levitating genius. So let me ask you, do you guys know, I'm just curious, do you know where the drinking water comes from here in South Florida? So let me ask you a question. This is just out of curiosity. Do y'all know when you turn on the tap, where does that drinking water come from? Do you know? Let me just ask you a quick question. Do you guys have any idea where the drinking water here in South Florida comes from?
No.
No idea, right?
Every glass of water that you drink in Miami, unless you buy a bottle of water, is from the Everglades.
It's a funny thing about the Everglades. Everyone in America thinks it's a swamp. Even in South Florida, most people have no idea what the Everglades are.
This is a water system, supply system for everything from West Palm Beach to Key West. Every time you wash your car in downtown Miami or take a shower, you're pulling water out of the Everglades.
In 1944, Jesse Keenan's family opened the first Everglades airboat rides for tourists, called Coopertown.
The whole southern Florida is all based on survival of the Everglades water system.
Jesse has lived here since 1987.
It's a very mystical, magical area. It has its own calmness, its own excitement to it.
Indeed, the Everglades are like no other place on Earth. A vast, freshwater river meandering from above Lake Okeechobee all the way south to the Florida Bay, creating one of the richest estuaries in the nation, and providing South Florida with its drinking water. Spend an afternoon on an airboat in the Everglades, and I think you'll agree with Jesse. It's one of the most magical places on our beautiful blue planet.
It's very magical because you got to realize this is a nesting area for a lot of birds from all over the world that come in. They create new youth, and new growth and young birds and how they survive and how they can very magically, in the middle of nowhere, create a bird, rookery and raise hundreds of birds. So that's very magical to me. Yeah. Wow. So it creates its own environment. It has its own very unique calmness to it. Okay? It can also have its very bad storms to it. So it's creating different magic each way, colors, light, shape, sounds.
I grew up in New York City, and I always dreamed of going to the Everglades because, like you mentioned, I only knew about it from books and pictures, and I thought, This must be an amazing place, and I couldn't, I thought it was one place I'd always wanted to visit, and now here I am, all grown up, and it's just as magical as I ever could have imagined.
Unfortunately, over the past 100 years, half of the historic Everglades have disappeared, transformed into cities, businesses, and agriculture, and lost forever. It wasn't too long ago that everything west of I-95, from Palm Beach to Miami, was Everglades.
Well, historically, you'd have rainfall in the Kissimmee Valley, and it would kind of slowly trickle down the Kissimmee River into Lake Okeechobee.
Gabe Margasak is a spokesperson for the South Florida Water Management District.
And in the summer months, the lake would overflow its banks, and you'd have this very slow sheet flow of water that came down into what's now Everglades National Park and down into Florida Bay and out here into Biscayne Bay. It's where they coined the term River of Grass. Today, what happens when rain falls in the Kissimmee, that water no longer can sheet flow down into the Everglades as it used to. It's all moved via a system of canals, levees, berms, pump stations, and as we were talking about the other day, when rain falls in, they're called basins, a certain basin, the only way that that water is going to move is if a water manager here at the district moves it. It's not going to move naturally as it used to.
And that's where the South Florida Water Management District comes in.
We have a operations center here, a control room at the Water Management District in West Palm Beach at our headquarters. It's staffed 24/7, and we have, again, a team of engineers and water managers that literally have to figure out on a daily basis where it's going to rain, how much it's going to rain, and where to put the water, or where to move the water.
They're responsible for moving water around 16 counties through 2,000 miles of canals, from Orlando to the Florida Keys.
Well, you really couldn't live in South Florida without flood control and water management. In the winter, you wouldn't have enough water. In the summer, you'd be underwater. Today, we have 8.1 million residents living in the same place where the Everglades were. So it may seem like magic, but it actually takes a lot of science, technology, engineering, and hard work to make this water management system work so that people can live here. And it's a very delicate balance of providing water supply, flood control, restoring the environment, protecting wildlife. It's one of the most complex water management systems in the world. And the Everglades are one of the most unique ecosystems in the world.
Jeff Shaughnessy is a senior meteorologist at the district.
If you could pull a pay raise out of there, that'd be awesome. Man, I had one of those in forever.
I do magic, not miracles. Come on now.
Jeff has the totally unique job of predicting how much rain will fall in the various areas that make up the South Florida Water Management District.
We actually break the district up into about a dozen or so basins and forecast how much rain is going to fall within those basins, so the engineers can then come up with an idea, a plan for what amount of water to move that day.
Now, I know you're a number cruncher, so you can pick any number you want, but to give me at least a chance, let's give out a range from, say, 21 to 101. So somewhere.
But we base our forecasts on physics, known entities that we play out in time, and so sometimes you kind of get bogged down more in that. You're focused more on the things you know, not so much the aspects of you that you don't know.
No one can sneak a peek in here. I'll just leave it right here. I'd like you to just think of the number you've selected and see if you can send me an image of it and see if I can connect with you.
And so, yes, there is a magical element to
Not
it.
Yet. That's a good send, but I didn't quite get it. Send again. I got these three. It's a 1, a 1-1, and a 1-0. Almost like a barcode. Are you thinking binary? No.
No.
Now this one came in for a second. I'm not sure if it's in 8 or infinity. Depends on how it goes. Please, think of your number. Hold on. You know, two big numbers just came in. 34 and 35. Are either of these your number, Jeff?
No.
All right, hold on. Keep thinking. Jeff, for the first time, please tell us, what was the number you've been thinking?
54.
54. Do you mind if I check? Because this is my first miss. I just want to double check. Aha, yes, it was 54. Well, I was close. I had a 5 and a 4 together. If I had slipped that up, that would have been good. Oh, but wait. Just take a moment and look at this. If you add the column down, 35 and 10 is 45, 45 and 9, that's 54. Let's try that again. 8 and 2 is 10, 47 and 7 is 54. Let's try it sideways. 36 and 10 is 46 and 8 is 54. Oh, you're gonna like this one, Jeff. This angle. Oh, but wait. 30.
Not only am I able to reveal what number Jeff simply thought of, my numbers all add up to his.
If the outer 4 are 54, let's check the middle 4. 9 and 8 is 17 plus 3 is 20 plus 34. Jeff, we've done it. It's 54.
And that's exactly the kind of number crunching magic that Jeff is able to pull off in his own unique way with the weather.
Is there somehow I can use this trick to get the forecast right for tomorrow?
Absolutely. Take 54, divide by 3, add 2, and that's the inches.
Awesome. Let me write that down.
And if anything goes wrong, don't tell them it was me if we're having flooding in Miami tomorrow, because I was never here. Watch me disappear.
I'd like to do that on the days I get the forecast wrong. Just disappear.
Well, I'm sure that's not very often. I can tell you're a consummate professional. I see that. It's great for you to let us come in here and to share what you do with us. I really appreciate you taking the time. Thank you so much.
Thanks for stopping by.
Anytime I can show anybody the Everglades and the beauty that surrounds it, it's very interesting for me.
Well, I sure appreciate it, and I hope that our viewers start to appreciate it too, because this is a magical place, and I hope that everybody gets a chance at some point to visit you or the Everglades and to come out here and get an understanding of what we have here on this beautiful planet and in this country. Some beautiful spots that are just very magical.
Well, thank you. My
You're
pleasure.
welcome. Thank you, sir.
Hi, I'm Carl Pilcher. I worked for NASA for almost 30 years, and I can tell you this. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that water's flowing through the Everglades today. But if we're not careful and concerned, it could all dry up.